Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm going to start breaking down the current global mood, which means everything that's going on, the fear of the lockdowns, all the threats being thrown all over the place, all the fear-based BS, right? On the other side, I'm going to break down where it is we need to go and be in order to kind of conquer what it is they're trying to do here globally, right? Or even in North America, especially, right? Because let's say North America does serve a purpose, right? It is the mixing pot, which I can also get into a little later. How's that? Okay. So where I'm going to begin is in the global mood, which is the fear. So basically, what we're sitting in is a self-sustained system, right? That is based on, well, it's a communist, right? People don't understand that it isn't something that's coming; it's something that's already been here. This self-sustained system means basically we are a self-sustaining. There is nobody actually involved. They're way outside, right? They have set this system up intentionally so that we're basically battling ourselves over and over again. So the lower lines rise up against the upper lines, which is your rich, right? And in the end, we end up by basically rising up. Now we face what? We face all of this financial disaster, right? Because this stuff is intentional. This is a self-sustained system. They don't need to do anything. It's already set up. So when we're sick, we go to the medical, right? We're dependent on this full system for every single thing that we actually do not need. We do not need the system. All right. And that is across the board. Everything that we're looking at, including all the telephone wires, all the Wi-Fi, all of these things. What that is an actual imprisonment, okay? Energetically. If we can understand that that is energy that is surrounding us all the time, what is this doing? This is killing our own fields, okay? So basically, it's like imprisoning us in a like a full-blown, I guess it's, what is that called? Like a grid of energy that keeps us dull and separates us from the Earth's fields. Now, the Earth's fields are what power us. So down to our last little atoms. So the fields are what create the atoms that create the physical self. This isn't me. This isn't spiritual mumbo. This is fact through science. Okay. So the fields are what create the atoms that create your physical self, right? So the atoms make up the molecules. The molecules make up your DNA. And we're going to get into DNA. So this system basically cuts us off from the fields of the Earth and dulls us. So it takes over. So now it's actually destroying us from the atom up. So this is our imprisonment. And now the other aspect of that isn't just all these grid lines that we do not need. We don't need to pay for power. We don't need any of these things that they're feeding us, right? But it has been fed to us for so long, we believe this is normal and it is what we have to survive. None of it is. Not the medical, not these wires, none of it. So I'm going to get into the DNA. Yes? You have a question?
Do I have to give up my cell phone?
God. Look, you know what? You really want me to get into that one? I will.
No.
How about this?
I'm kind of saying that as a joke,
I
right?
know, but I'm going to actually answer.
Okay.
Because why not? So
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Here it goes. We can do everything the cell can do, only better. Right? We don't need the cell phones. Again, it's another system. We are telepathic. We can communicate with each other. And I'll explain what the problem is and what the matrix is.
Okay, show me later how to text without a cell phone.
I can.
Okay, good.
All right, because there is communication fully between us all the time. Right? So that's where we even have the Akashic record, right? We have 3 levels of Akashic, okay? So there is the first level, which is, it comes from within. It's in your DNA. You can tap into any knowledge, and that's the piece that I'm going to get into here. That involves that fear base, okay, of unlocking specific things in our DNA, which is our experience. So our DNA is what? It's the book of who we are. So it's all the chapters that came together to create you through generations. So generations of knowledge, experience, everything resides within. Now you have the ability to tap into that anytime. The second is the ionosphere. Now what the ionosphere is, it's directly connected to our mind. Because every field of the earth powers a specific aspect of you and the physical world, okay? This is with the ley lines, everything. Those are important. That's where everything is coming together, like the wave patterns that create the physical observable world. So with the Akashic, we can tap in. So thoughts reside within that ionosphere. This is something Tesla understood, okay? So Tesla brought forward a lot of stuff that they've used against us by understanding it through what Tesla figured out, which is the same thing. So the ionosphere is where all thought goes, yours, mine, everybody's. That's why when you quiet the mind, you can reach out and get the answer because somebody has thought of it and somebody's come up with the solution. So this is what we tap into, actually, is the ionosphere. That's where our brain, all thoughts go. So they're circling around. When you ask a question, you reach out and you grab the answer. It is that simple. The third is the universe Akashic, meaning every proton within every proton, and protons are what make you up and everything. So within every proton is the entire universe in all knowledge up to every single moment. Okay, it's everything. You're made up of that. That means you can tap into universe knowledge whenever you want. Now, obviously, you have to bring yourself to this space, right? That you can actually access. I wouldn't say you have to be clear. And this is another part of it and why we're not clear. Because we don't understand that we're energetic, right? We're the same. What is coming off your phone are energetic fields. What is coming off you is energetic fields. So you're only 4% physical. Everything else about you is energetic. And that doesn't mean, the spiritual whatever that they want to make look bad. Like that there's just something. You can't see radio waves. You can't see, the TV. You can't see any of this. It's energy. Same thing. All right. Now we're communicating with each other all the time. So this is you. I am just going to do a stick figure. All right. This is people. So with their fields, it's kind of like this. So every thought a person has, they project their energy into it. So whether it's another person or a bunch of people that they're having thoughts of all day long. So they're connecting their energy to it. Now, once you connect your energy through thought, you open up communication. And this is why people end up, oh, I knew you were going to call. Well, because you projected your energy to me, which triggered me to know you're like the thought of you came up. Oh, well, there's Hugh. Well, Hugh just texted. Oh, isn't that freaky? Not really. All right? Because the moment you thought of texting me, your energy came to me and told me. This is why we don't need a phone. See, we're getting clearer on these things, but we're not quite there. So we have open communication with how many thoughts do you have in a day? Right. Do you ever call that energy back? Do you ever hang up on those calls? Because that's what they are. So you're connected to anybody you're having thoughts of all day long. And you're in open communication. So now their thoughts are interfering with yours. And it's a constant back and forth, back and forth. This is why people's brains won't shut up. Because it's everybody in there. Right? Because we don't know. So we never call our energy back. We never hang up. So we're basically talking on 1,000 different phone calls at once. And then we're wondering why we're so chaotic.
So somebody who's like, some people, they can't sleep because they're thinking about so much stuff.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're thinking about, of course, people are involved in their thoughts, right?
Absolutely.
So, but what they need to do is just hang up on, deal with maybe one thing at a time rather than everything all at once.
Exactly. To understand that, right, you're spreading yourself out there, you're fragmented, right? So your energies are constantly someplace else. That's what they count on, is us not understanding who and what we are. We're energetic beings, okay? And that's what they've got. Like, that's what the imprisonment is here, is this is all energy.
Plus, we're the people that are attacking us, the people that want to lock us down, or if we're actually more powerful than they are.
Oh, by far.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. There's a couple things on that one. One, I know the darkness, and I'm sure you do too. We're engulfed in it constantly, right? My life has been dark. I understand darkness, right? Yeah. I also understand the light because that's where I reside. So regardless of any of the darkness, they don't. I don't care who they are or what is written. You can't truly understand because it isn't something that can be expressed, right? The light resides within. And even the understanding of those experiences are incredibly difficult to pass on to somebody else that doesn't understand, which they do not. But they do understand how our energy works. And this is why they fear it. Because ultimately, all you have to do is become sovereign. What that means is you stop being fragmented. You start knowing who and where you are at all times. You start calling back your energy because everybody you connect to has now an influence over you. And if we want to, we'll also get into the sexual energy, which is even more, because the sexual energy completely dominates. And this is where we're in right now. All right. You want to understand why there's pedophiles or, old man looking at a 12, 13, 14-year-old child as though it's a sexual object. This is why. And this is being done to us. Okay. Yeah. So it's not even like this is anybody's fault. That's the real truth. And as sad as it is, it wasn't like anybody stepped forward to say, hey, this is what I want. Right. And it's on both sides. That's the other thing. There is no rising of the feminine or the masculine. It's both. We need both. Okay. Because the men are being as suppressed as the female. Right. And it is. I don't care about sexual orientation. Take it out. Right. There are masculine and feminine energies. Those matter. Okay. Because the masculine is the physicality and the feminine is the emotional. So it's like the external is the masculine, the internal is the feminine. So what the masculine does is protect that feminine energy so she can reside in the heart center. But we can't do that because we're in constant trauma.
And
right?
Also they probably have weaponized
everything.
All that, right?
Yes.
Like the whole, like the women's liberation.
Absolutely.
And then now with the gender, blah, blah,
it's
blah.
all the same thing. Let's divide and conquer, right? Yeah. So let's label everything. Everything is different. How many different labels can we possibly come up with? Pretty soon, every individual will have their own label. Now that actually makes sense because there isn't a single individual that is the same as another. And we need to realize that. And what other people choose for themselves, that is their life, right? Yeah. Not anybody else's. But we're constantly focused on the external and what is going on outside of us instead of what's going on within us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we can answer these questions. We can feel it. We know, okay? Everything that is being fed to us is fear. It is the fear base. Now, I'll get into. So now we are all spread out. We're imprisoned, right, by all these wires that we don't need. We don't need any of it. It's a self-sustained communist system that they set up back in, 1800s, late 1800s. So basically, they don't even need to be involved.
Maybe even earlier. Maybe when money was invented. Maybe it goes back to Sumeria or who knows, right?
And I can get into that too, but I won't on this.
Yeah.
But I can get into the history and where it all started. But another one.
Yeah.
So we'll get into the self-sustained system, which is a fear-based. Everything here has been designed to imprison us. That's the first thing. Nothing is good. How's that? None of it is. I don't care what, there's certain, needs. No, we're creating those needs. You see? So that's the point of it. So we are made up of our genetics. Let's say this is the DNA. I'm not, that's what it is. Okay. So DNA coils like a phone cord, right? And the RNA, that's the reader. Okay. So basically, when you have a thought, it creates an emotion. That emotion travels through the heart center and then goes through the body as like speaking to the DNA. So it's frequencies, right? So your emotion creates frequency that travels through and speaks to the DNA. What it tells the DNA is what you would like to experience. Now, everybody's different. Everybody's DNA line is different, right? Your genetics, what experiences. It's not infinite, but there is quite a bit if you think about how many generations came together to create you. But that's why sometimes an experience won't happen. That's because it's not available to you. But then this experience will happen, right? So your RNA is the reader. So it rolls along the DNA and reads what it is, like chapter by chapter. So when you have a thought and open it, the RNA reads it. That is sent outward, and that's when it's brought back in for you to experience. And it doesn't matter whether it's something you want or don't want. You're creating it through the emotion. So it's not how you actually experience, feel things is what matters. So in your thoughts, create that. So when you're watching a horror movie, okay, that affects your DNA. That affects what experiences you're opening. This is why more and more the world is turning into a living hell, right? So it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Because we're hyper-mediated. Radio, then TV.
Yes. Yeah. social
Then-
media.
Social media,
Yeah.
internet,
Mhm.
everything. A
Right.
million channel universe, right?
And what does it all do too? It lowers your IQ and your emotional, whatever that, emotional IQ thing. Well, what it's doing is it's disconnecting the brain from the heart and the whole system. Like each system, each organ, everything has a mind, like a brain, right? So it's thinking. Everything is sending signals to speak. So if anything is wrong with you, your brain already knows. You're not listening. If it's by the time you actually feel pain or are sick, that's usually when it's too late. That means you aren't paying attention
Right.
because every piece of you is speaking at, like, always sending signals. Um, the problem is we are very disconnected from the heart and the brain. These two things are separated. We're not paying attention. We're not listening to the body. We're separating more and more and more. Right? So then we become denser, denser, denser. And everything around us is helping that out.
And
We-
it's separating people. We saw
Absolutely.
families break up.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters can't talk to each other because the media
Yeah.
put them in different camps.
Why? Because love. Right? It is actually that simple. It is. And that's what I want to show. It is actually that simple. So when you shut it all off and you become intentional, call your energy back, become whole instead of fragmented. This is where your power is, when you become whole instead of fragmented. This is the matrix that we're all feeding nonstop. We're influencing each other. Sexually, we have way too much influence. And that means you don't even have to sexually be with somebody. It's just projecting your energy into it. It's no different than physically being there. That's the part we don't get, is we aren't just physical, right? The physical is the lowest densest state of who we are. It's the 0 point, right? Like it's the center. It's like the reflection of who you are, not the who you are.
Mhm.
Right? And the rest of who you are is pretty much fragmented until you call your energy back and you become whole. Now that I've made this mess on the board, but once you do, that's power, right? When you reconnect your heart center with the mind, this is where you begin to regain that power, because now you understand and you reside here instead of here. So when you drop down into the heart where that love resides, it changes everything. But it's like we have to get there, and it's a process. So we begin in the root, we work our way up. There's a clearing, and it's happening because the universe energies are coming in. It is lifting us. There's nothing they can do about that except slow it down and do what they're doing here. And they understand that, all right? Because as a galaxy, we've shifted our place in the universe, which is a normal cycle. So we've gone through like the dark phase, which is the last 12,500 years. And that's when this began, was 12,500 years ago. And so this plan has been set, like, really well, because the ones that did set it, and that's what I mean, I can do that a different time. The ones that set it understood because they were the survivors from that flood that happened 12,500 years ago, which prior to that was that Atlantis, but it wasn't just Atlantis. It was global. Like, it wasn't just one city. Yeah. And when you look at the history and you look at the megaliths and all these other things, right?
Göbekli Tepe.
What?
Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
Yes. And we
Please.
appreciate it.
Please continue.
All right, thanks. Anyway, so now I'm off track. Thanks. All right, so let's go back to the DNA. All right, because the fear and everything that's fed, whether it's social media, your self-image, they definitely want to destroy your self-image. You need false parts. Like, oh my God. There's some of this that just really is upsetting, right? Okay. So we're in a self-sustained system, which means no matter how many times we rise up, every time we rise up, it's basically set to screw us, right?
Okay.
So this is why now we can't afford to eat. And it's like, well, they're not even here. They set this up, and now we're a self-sustained system, which also means we can change it far easier than what anybody believes.
Okay, good.
That's what we're here to learn. So fear, when you feed that fear, regardless of what it is, it's speaking to your DNA. So it's opening up that experience. So when you have the choice to close a chapter. So if you close a chapter, the RNA just bypasses it and goes to the one that's open. So how your DNA opens through frequency, right? So it's all vibration. And I won't get into all of that, but I can at another time. So fear travels through the heart center, tells your DNA what you want to experience. The more fear you feed it, the more you open that up in your DNA. And understand, that is your consent right there, is feeding the fear. They cannot come in and actually harm you. They can only make you believe they can. As long as they make you believe you can, you will react. You will open the experience in your DNA, and that's consent. Because you're doing it to yourself. They're not doing anything. All they're doing is scaring you. They're telling you. That's it. And that's why we're able to be sovereign, is we can turn away. And this is the part that people have a lot of trouble, because they feel if they're not watching, something bad is going to happen and they're going to miss it. And guess what? You don't. I stopped watching a long time ago. And all my life, well, I can't say it's gotten better, but it has. Trust me. So the fear, which is the current global mood, basically, the bigger it is. So the more people we know, the collective, the stronger that energy base is, right? So the collective right now overall is in this like bubble of fear. So all that's being created is through fear, right? So they're consenting to this whole global crisis, regardless of what it is. And now, if you step back and actually take a look, you can see a shift happening, because people are stepping away from the collective. People are getting tired of it. And they're also awakening. What does that mean? It means that the universe energies that are coming in, because now we've shifted. So our galaxy has shifted in the universe. Excuse me. So this is the universe. And it is within a toroidal field, like an apple. Okay? So this is what... So we're traveling through that center point and coming back up out into the light, right? So now we're reconnecting to the light of the universe. We're only in the beginning stages. We're not in the golden ages. That doesn't happen for another 100,000 years or something. So it might even be 125, because we're at the beginning. But don't let that discourage anybody. We're still waking up, and they can't stop it. They can slow it down. What they're trying to do, all right, there's more, is with the soul body. All right. So when we dip down into that darkness and that we're coming back out of, it's like the soul body can't reside here. Right?
Right.
So the soul body is here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually experiencing this
Right.
remotely. Right? So what is happening to us in our awakening is we are rising to meet our soul body, okay? So that we're not experiencing it remotely anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We become conscious. You see? So that is the consciousness, is the soul re-enters the body. That's the rebirth, okay? Now we're rising, and they're trying to stop it, right? So they're trying to keep us here. And what they're doing is trying through the medical industry to prevent this from happening. So basically, they're trying to hijack the physical self, the physical beings, because they can control that. They can control the physical, right?
And don't forget, these vaccines had DNA.
But again, fear.
Or DNA. Okay,
it can only attach if you allow it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
If you have no fear, it can't. You have to consent. You have to consent. Even to your own death. It has to be consensual in the DNA. Otherwise, you can't experience it. This is why they created programming.
So this is why, for example, you hear stories about, there was some Indian guru guy took 1,000 hits of LSD and nothing happened.
Yes, I know that guy. I mean, I don't know him, but I know who you're talking about, right? With Ram Dass, yeah.
I don't know if it was him, but...
no, he gave it to, guy, because that's what Ram Dass was doing, right? Taking it and experiencing some amazing stuff.
Oh, that Richard.
Yeah, and he came back and he was like, what is happening? Right?
Yeah, okay.
Because once you're already there, that's it. Yeah. And it is true. And we can. But the more, and this is why they destroy also our self-image and us sexually. Our sexual energy is the most powerful creative force, because it's when the two come together, right? Uh-huh. So two energies that come together here, that is like full power manifestation. Okay, we can create anything we want. This is why they're destroying. And it's again, I mean, destroy family, destroy, just love is what they're destroying. They're draining it out of
And
us.
that destroys the next generations, right?
Absolutely,
Because
because
kids are
guess
much
what?
better off if they have
Yeah,
a pair of a father and a mother together, right?
and genetics wise, right? What are we creating then? So, like, what is my book that I'm passing on to my child? Because we're writing it.
Right. Because that
Right.
stays in the DNA,
It does.
right?
I saw this. Okay, this is where I really started getting clear. Is I had like when I was a baby, I rocked my crib apart and I smashed my teeth before they came in. So I had a broken tooth, and then I had a tooth that came in up here.
Hmm.
Okay, I had it until into my 30s when I finally was able to get it removed. My granddaughter, same thing. Like, she didn't do the same thing. She got the tooth up here, and I started really paying it. Like, wait a minute, because I wrote it. Okay, I wrote that in to her genetics. She got that piece of me. I saw my other granddaughter, newborn baby. All right, when I lay down, I like to take. It's a weird thing, but this is what I started noticing. I take a little piece of blanket to put over my eyes, just over my eyes, because I don't like anything over my face, but I don't like the light. So I put it over my eyes. Newborn baby, my granddaughter, would pull the blanket over her eyes. Still does it. She's almost 2. And she just pulls the little piece. She will not go to sleep. That's when she's ready for sleep. She grabs and she puts it over her eyes. And I thought, I wrote that into her DNA.
Hmm.
That's why it happened since birth, right? So again, what experiences are you writing in? That's exactly the point. Fear, they're programming it. So as you watch, it's actually programming those experiences. Now understand, it's abstract, right? Like, you watch a superhero movie, you're not going to create superheroes. It's not, it doesn't exist. You're going to create an abstract version. And that's everything, a horror movie, anything like that. It's going to be, what does that fear trigger from your genetics and your DNA? So what are you now writing in? So not only are you triggering it, this is actually being imprinted. So every experience you have is imprinted and passed on. Not like everything that happens to me now, it's instantaneous in DNA. Anybody that has a piece of my DNA with that, they experience it. So if I heal everything in my like all fear in my DNA, it doesn't get passed on, right? So this is why you call it all forward.
So how do you do that? How
You
do
call
you?
it all forward. That's the journey, right? Is you keep going until all the fear comes forward. That's what I've done, right?
So you got to experience that fear.
Yeah, you do. Unfortunately, yeah. And a lot of it's through experience. Now, I didn't know. So here's the next step. How do we do it without actually experiencing harm, right? So I see people that have experienced extreme trauma as a child. So what keeps happening? They keep getting accidents because it's still like it's trying to get out.
And everybody has these patterns that keep repeating,
Yeah,
right?
right. And that's stuff that needs to be dealt with because we are, as a whole, we like to suppress it all, right? We don't want to face anything. We don't want to feel anything, right? I couldn't for a long time because I had to raise my babies alone, right? So what did I have to do? I had to reside in masculine energy, not feminine. I don't even know what the feminine feels like.
Because you didn't have
I
the
couldn't,
father around, yeah.
right? Or any protection. I had to be
Right.
it.
Right.
Now, that's not just me. I mean, these are the roles that are switching, right?
Yeah.
So now I couldn't feed that to my children,
Hmm.
right? So basically, that's what I have fed. Now I'm changing this narrative. So now I understand. So I've intentionally moved through. It's like, okay, what do we need to deal with? Bring it. And I have. And it hasn't been easy, okay? That's the thing. It is not easy. Nothing about it is rainbows and butterflies. Nothing in the spiritual journey is, or whatever you want to call it, because that's just another label. But coming back to self, you have to move through those fears. The more we remove, the less we pass forward. The more we remove, the less we experience those, right? I don't want to pass down rapes, right? So what triggers that? You watch a movie? Yeah. Like, we're not understanding fully what's happening. And even with the sexual energies, the porn, the constant like feeding of like, man, like they're destroying us. We have no connection in love.
Hmm.
Like we're residing down here, okay? And even on TV, when you watch, I know this is turning into a mess. When you watch TV, All right, there's a few things to keep in mind. They're using subliminal, absolutely. Symbolism. Your brain, your subconscious speaks in symbolism. And that's what everything is. Even our language, it's written, it's very specific, it's symbols. That is speaking to your subconscious and telling it what, again, you want to experience. The other one, they use the color because color is a frequency, right? And that's why chakras are different colors. Those are different frequencies that come together. That's like the wave points. So what they've done with sex and violence, one, they're usually go hand in hand. Also, red dominates the screen. Red and then orange and yellow. But red dominates the screen. Sexual energy does not reside in the root because your root is your survival. So what is happening now? They are triggering sex to be a survival need, right? So they're connecting it to the root rather than through the connection, right? So because actual sexual energy enters through the heart center and then travels into your sacral, not your root.
Right.
Right. And that is like you accept somebody in.
So with the sexual being tied to the heart, that's where the love comes from.
Right. That's the love.
But to take it in the other direction,
right. Now it's not.
right?
There's no connection, no emotion, no nothing. Right. And it's a survival need. Right. This is why people can rape children. And I'm sorry to be crude, but it's true. Okay. Because there's no emotion. All right. They're broken. People are broken. And it's because of this stuff.
And the more it happens, the more the next generation
absolutely, because it's
broken.
written in and there's nothing we can do, right? So now it's playing out and you're going, why can't I stop this? Why can't I? Because it's written in the DNA. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we fix all this?
We have to face the fear. We have to shut the programming off. We have to stop listening to them, which is the hardest thing for people to do.
So, yeah. Right now, all the talk about the lockdowns, right? People are going into fear or whatever, right?
And then they're going to make it happen.
But you're saying we just ignore it.
Yeah.
We turn off the TV.
Yeah, and live our lives.
Just, right.
Yeah. Who do you love? Why don't you open up, right? Like maybe open up to connecting with actual people. Like what we need is this. We need community and family, right? You're right. Families are against families. My family just turned against me going through the hardest time in my life.
Yeah.
What is wrong, right? Yeah. That is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there should be love and support, but that's not what we're taught.
Yeah.
Right. We're taught to turn against each other. We're taught that little girls are sexual objects, right? And it isn't a feminist thing. This is disgusting. It's disgusting. And when I go out, it's not like oh, no, I find it disgusting. And not because, and I know it's not people's fault. That's the really hard part. I do get it. I do. And the people that are doing it, like people are in pain. And we need out of it. How?
So how? Yeah. So how do we do it? What's our game plan?
We have to face it. So we have to find ways of releasing.
Well, we have to ignore all the media.
Yes. You have to stop triggering it, which means shut it off.
But how do we, as an individual,
I'll tell you what I do.
We can do that, but it's the collective that's...
Stop looking at the collective. That's a big one.
Okay.
Only sit within yourself because that's the only one you can do this for. You can't do it for anybody else. You can't force anybody to understand or force anybody to change or do what you want. It's never, ever going to happen. But you can change you. You can be responsible for every aspect of you, right? Everything that you do. How I really got into it was I started seeking love, right? So I'd get up in the morning. It's like, what makes me feel good? Because that's what I need. No more bad, right? I need to feel good. And it's not like the fear-based stuff comes up. That's what you have to allow. So it's like you need to be where I guess you're safe. Like you need to find love. Like I would go to my children's. I spend time with my grandbaby. Like what can I do to open that heart center, to feel more? It's like I sat in a life where I knew and understood that I loved my children, but I couldn't understand why I couldn't feel it. Like, shouldn't I feel something? Like, why do I not feel? And that's really what got me going, is it's like, I need to feel like we're supposed to. And I didn't have any feeling, right? So how do I open it up? And I did. Like I started spending the time and focusing in and focusing on opening the heart, because then you gain that, right? You start reconnecting that heart with the mind. Okay. You start opening the pineal, right? Decalcifying. Um, like there's so many different things. Like your diet matters. What you put into your body absolutely matters. What you're feeding yourself on all levels matters.
So that's we could spend our time doing that, paying attention to that rather than paying attention to
To the
the
fear.
right.
Right. Start feeding the love, but don't be afraid of the fear. Don't be afraid of the trauma you need to release. I driving in my car, anybody in there at certain times, I'd probably scare the hell out of, because it's like, you're alone, windows up, radio crank, I scream. And it's like sometimes you don't understand why, but it's a release. Like I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm like filled with all this, but that was a safe place. So I let it. I'm sitting in my car. I'm like, I feel like I'm insane, screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm screaming. I don't even know what I'm screaming at. And then it's like, it's past trauma, right? That needed to get out, because usually when you're traumatized, you're silenced, okay? And nobody wants to hear you. Nobody even faces it, right? Right. So you can't even talk. Think about it. So you can't ever release it. So you have to. So you have to find like safe ways of doing it, like in your car, right? Alone, screaming and crying and yelling out to the universe, right? Because sometimes you do need it, because it is in there. And if it's coming out, let it. If you need to cry, you need to go cry. Like let it out in every way you possibly can. It's going to come out. It is.
Whatever that emotion is.
Whatever
right?
the emotion is. Yeah. Or the thoughts. It's
Just
like write
experience
it. Write
that
it.
emotion.
Yeah.
And write it out, like journaling.
Yep.
Um,
It's probably a huge thing is journaling.
yeah.
Because that's like everything is frequency and vibrations.
And
So you have to speak it. You have to listen, hear, right?
Yeah.
See. It's like you have to look at the full spectrum of your senses.
you got to feel it. And
Yeah.
most people, I mean, we have so many opportunities to just suppress it. Drugs, alcohol,
Mhm.
sex,
Yeah.
TV.
Feel good things, right?
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Yeah, forget
Yeah.
about, I don't want to feel that hard emotion that I'm actually experiencing. No, I just want to turn away from it. And
Yeah.
so that's okay.
Yeah. And then watch some more programming and speak to the DNA, and yeah. And then pass this on, and then your children are suffering, your grandchildren are suffering, and you don't know why, and it's really coming from you.
Okay.
Right? And I don't mean like there's my parents and blah blah blah. It's generational. But what are you doing to heal that in you? Because when I saw my children rise as I rose, and I started like it's really going through the experience that taught me how it worked. Right? It's not like something that I was taught or something that I knew. I saw it. Right? Like I would work through like some intense, traumas, and then the next day I could see it lifted out of my children. Right?
Interesting. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I started seeing it. I started understanding, and that's what a lot of us are doing is coming in to clear the generational trauma. That's the hardest job of all of it, because literally, I can tell you from start to finish. I'm 50, and I know you already know, but from start to finish, this life has been nothing but a trauma, trauma after trauma after trauma. Not the same trauma, every type of trauma. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Because I'm drawing up every ounce of trauma in my genetic line and healing it. That's why. Some of us, that's what we're doing. And I've come to know that now that I've gone through it. It's been a living hell. But I look at my children and my grandchildren, and I would do it again. Right? What lengths are you willing to go? I know I'm willing to go all the way. Yeah. And that's exactly what I've done. And that's what they fear. Because once you do that, you're in the heart center. And that's your power, because now you intentionally create, right? So now you intentionally feed yourself everything you need to create beautiful things in your life without the blocks, without the fear. You start connecting. You start connecting in community and with people.
You know what it's like?
What?
It's just like the Who's in Whoville.
Oh, not the Who's in
Right?
Whoville.
It's Christmas Day, and the Grinch has snatched all the gifts.
That's it.
And that's what's coming, by the way.
Check this out, though.
And the Who's, they got up and they sang the song anyway.
Right.
It didn't matter to them. And that healed the Grinch.
It's true. Do you know why it's said in movies? This is something very cool. Something they can. You know what you need to you need the creative force energy. And guess what? All through the movies, you ever see Wizard of Oz? What are they doing? They're traveling to the heart center, the Emerald City. That's your heart center. It's green. It's your Emerald City, right? So they go through, they follow the yellow brick road, right? So anyway, they fall asleep with the poppies. That's the chemical. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, why? It's being told to us in all the movies because that's something they can't prevent from coming in, and that's the creative force energy. So any which way it is speaking to us, even if they, and these are things they don't get or understand.
So, in other words, although they're doing cultural programming,
Yeah, and you don't want to watch, but it's been messaged to us.
but what you're saying is that regardless of the their, what do you call that, predictive
Agenda.
programming, and they're doing their agenda in the movies, but somehow
It's still getting through.
from
Yes.
God or from whatever.
Creative force energy, universe, right?
Okay.
It's still coming in. You have to have that creative force energy to create. And anything good is going to come through that. So yes, regardless of their agenda, like I said before, we have full understanding of what the dark is. We live in it. They don't have an understanding of what the light is. They don't reside there.
Okay, is that it, or is there more?
Do you want more, or is that it? I don't know. Let's look.
Well, let's. We're going to come back and do other sessions
Yes.
with some of those other topics, but I think we just want to give people an idea of a strategy they can take as we go into this fall and whatever these people have planned.
You want to use your voice, right?
Yeah.
You want to journal. You want to watch your diet. Every single aspect you want to feed positive and release the negative. It really does. And call your energies back. Ground yourself. Ground. You can either do it physically by taking your shoes off, going outside. It grounds you. What that means is you're reconnecting to the electromagnetics in the fields of the earth. So you can either do it that way if you need, or visualize, which is what I do. Feminine and masculine work differently, so whatever works for you. I visualize connecting to the core of the earth. I draw that energy in. I feed my fields. I go out into the universe energy and draw that in, and then I combine them in my core. So, I mean, I do a lot of energy work, but and it's just easy for me at this point, but that actually works. It does reconnect you, and that's important. So I would start there and do some journaling and screaming in your car. How's that?
That sounds just fantastic. So I'm just going to let's just wrap this session up. That was fantastic, Jennifer. Thank you for doing that.
No problem.
And I just want to say, if people want to follow up somehow, there's our email address, info@thatchannel.com, and we'll try to keep these conversations going. But we gotta win the war.
We've already won.
See, that's me again, falling back
Right.
into the old fear programming.
I'll teach you.
We already won. Okay, fantastic. Okay, thanks,
right.
Jennifer.
Thank you.